It is rare to see an independent game get as much hype as Hawken has gotten leading up to launch, but it's also rare that an independent game looks this jaw-dropping. So here to let me test drive some mechs is Hawken producer Jason Hughes. Jason, get over here with us, man. Let's talk some Hawken.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me.
For those people who don't know what the game's all about, tell us a little bit about the premise of Hawken.
So, Hawken, we are a first-person shooter, mech first-person shooter. We're a free-to-play game, and our big open beta date is 12/12/12 this year.
Wow. All right, mechs, you gotta love them, and we're gonna talk a little bit about some gameplay that we're gonna see on screen here in a minute. Walk us through what some of your objectives are. There's been a lot of mech games in the past. Why are people so hyped for this one?
So part of it is the visuals. I think that's what we're really hitting, something really unique that people haven't seen before. We're also walking a little bit of a fine line between some Western-style mech games that are more simulator-based and some Eastern-style that are much faster and much more hyper in energy. So we're walking that line between them, and I think we're really starting to hit something special. So the footage that we have here right now, we're actually doing a live demo. This is our siege mode, which we haven't talked about much. We haven't shown any footage on. What we have here is a mech that is dropping off energy that it's collected in the base. And the whole goal is to destroy your opponent's base. And part of that you do with, you go out and you collect resources, you bring it back to the base, and we're about ready to launch a battleship that is going to take off and help you in your destructive goal.
Extremely impressive, visually speaking. Now, I mean, obviously, I talked to a lot of guys designing racing games or whatever. They could jump in the car and test drive it and get a feel for it. What do you do when you're building a mech game like this to make it look the way that people would imagine being in a mech would feel like?
Well, that's pretty tricky. I don't have one myself, so we just sort of have to go with the feel. The real big draw of mech games is that feeling of power, that feeling of strength, that feeling of being in the cockpit of something that has an enormous amount of enormous amount of authority. And that's what we're really trying to hit. We want the gameplay to be fun, we want it to be exciting, we want it to be action-packed, but at the same time, we need to have that power. We want people to feel like they're in this lumbering giant machine that can take on anything that comes their way.
Now, from a gameplay perspective, you mentioned that one of the modes, talk a little bit about how expansive the game is going to be and what types of gameplay scenarios we'll be presented with.
Sure, well, we're multiplayer focused. We're going to be launching this year. Siege mode is a big focus for us, and then we're also going to have some deathmatch and team deathmatch. We're going to have lots of other modes for the game, but I think Siege mode is what people are really going to remember for this game.
Now, how are the mechs unique from one another? Do you provide preset type of built mechs that people can choose from, or do they have customization options as well, or what?
Well, our big focus is customization. That's another thing that we're showing off here at E3. Not only will there be a number of mechs that you can choose from, there are different classes. For example, we have a light mech that is really fast, it's agile, and but it can carry less, it has less armor. Then we also have a medium mech, which can carry more, it's a little slower, and people can have different roles, different support roles based on their play style. So not only that, we have a ton of weapons that people are going to be able to get and customize. You can take pieces from other mechs and put them together for your own creation. You can customize the camouflage. We're going to have so many different ways. We have a really great. You can mech and match.
Hey,
that's awesome. Now I got to take that. We have this whole customization tree. Really will allow you to focus on the way that you like to play the game.
Right, now obviously the heads-up display is vital to this experience, but also at the same time, it seems like you're giving it in a rather clean format. Was it a challenge for you guys to work on the HUD and get this much information to the player?
Well, that's actually a really tricky part of development, is you want to make sure the player has the information they need, but you don't want to be bombarding them, and you don't want to make things too confusing. So that's actually something our HUD has actually gone through a lot of different iterations to really home in on the information that they need. So we try to keep things minimal, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that we want the player to be able to easily react to and not rely on the HUD too much.
There's a lot of first-person shooters out there, as we know, Jason, but designing one for play with a mech is much different than a game like a Halo or a Call of Duty. Talk about designing the environments to facilitate battles and sequences that would be fitting in this universe with these mechs.
Sure. Well, as you can see, we feel really strong that we have a unique look for this game. It's a not too distant future kind of world that we have for this. And mechs are larger. They're larger than running around as just a soldier on the field, so we take that into consideration. We have some larger spaces, but we have a wide variety of maps. We have some that are a little bit smaller, more close-knit, for more intimate combat, and then we have larger maps to really fit some of the larger scale gameplay that we can have with some of the modes.
And talk about progressing your mech, your character throughout the game. Do you gain new unlocks, you were saying, and or are there opportunities to progress and have an end game that's going to result in a stronger character?
That's right. We basically want to give people the freedom to play the way they want. So the goal is to start people off right at that middle range. And as they progress through the game and they unlock items, they're basically just given additional options. You have, again, the lighter mech, different options there. You'll have different weapons and other customization features. So it's really about giving players more options. And for example, our customization for the mech with the skill tree that we have, you won't be able to just put in all your points right away. You're going to have to unlock the ability to do that.
You talked about the different types of mechs, but from a first-person shooter perspective, a lot of people feel they could jump into any military shooter because they relate to the sniper, or I'm usually the medic, or I'm the gunner. In this game, how have you gone about aligning the different mechs with different classes that people would be able to relate to?
Sure. We have, well, not only with the skill tree, you can actually have a mech that looks exactly the same too. As a matter of fact, you could have two light mechs that look exactly the same but play completely differently. We have longer range weapons, we have shorter range weapons, and then that middle spot, which is perfect as well. And then when you go into the customization, you can really hone in on how you like to play. I tend to be a longer range player. I love sniping, so I definitely have, and there you go, matches over for siege mode. But so we have players that love the longer range, the shorter range, and we really are dialing in that experience for how you want to play, and we're very proud of where we're getting with that.
Are you really building out the story of this game's universe? Is the story just kind of more to facilitate the action, or are you looking to really dive deep and provide the gamers with some narrative that has context for the action as well?
Well, it's going to be a combination. We do have a story, we do have a backstory for the game. It's not necessarily something that we will explore in great detail in the game, but we'll have other options for that'll happen. We have a graphic novel that's coming, and we have the shorts that are coming as well. The Jerry Flattery, who we actually released just a few days ago, our first teaser for that. So we're very proud of that, and that's going to be available. We're going to use that to bring people into the story. Gameplay itself, we're focused on that fast, very intense multiplayer action, and hope people really like it.
12, 12, 13?
12, 12, 12. It is this year.
Okay, it is this year. 12, 12, 12
this year. Our open beta, you can go to playhawken.com and also try to sign up to get into our closed beta, which we're going to have a little bit before open beta. Allow people to get their hands on it sooner than later.
Awesome, man. It's looking fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.